Welcome everyone on this new channel called Devland. My name is Michael, and in this first video I would like to shortly explain you what this channel will be about and what we are going to do here and what kind of things we'll be able to learn on this channel. And I would like to be I will be sharing with you all knowledge that I possess about programming, games development and related stuff. We'll be learning through video tutorials that I record, and I will do my best to publish at least one video a week. It could be more, but I'll try to do at least once a week. And here is the schedule that we're gonna follow for first upcoming weeks. First of all, we're gonna be learning C++ basics. Very basics for people who don't know anything about programming whatsoever. So we're gonna be starting from building IDE. Actually downloading IDE. We're gonna be grabbing IDE and creating our first programs in C++, learning new concepts. So in the following weeks we're gonna be complicating our C++, learning new things, learning more concepts of C++, and that sort of stuff. Eventually, when your C++ knowledge gets really good, at some point we're gonna be creating games. Games creations using engines like CryEngine, and Unreal Engine. Right? So I'll just repeat myself. C++, very basics. We're gonna complicate it a little bit, and when it gets really good, we start building games using CryEngine, and after that using Unreal Engine. Basically what happens, we're gonna grab and learn CryEngine, and we're gonna just grab some core game concept or game logic that we wanna create. We're gonna create it with the CryEngine, and we're gonna then create it using Unreal Engine. We see what the difference between APIs. We will just expand our C++ knowledge because these two guys are completely different here. And yeah, so for the very first tutorial, I would like to start from showing you how to begin with C++ at all. So first of all, what we need with C++ is IDE, and it stands for Integrated Development Environment, right? Integrated Development Environment. And this environment is actually a set of programs, although it looks like just one program, but it's actually a set of programs that allow you to write the code. It interprets the code. It takes the code that human being understands, the code, C++ code that you write. It actually transforms it into something that our CPU understands. So zeros and ones. And this program is called compiler, but it's just part of the IDE that we're gonna be using. For the first tutorial, I'm going to start from showing you how to download it and which IDE we're gonna be using. We're gonna be using Visual Studio 2017 for this tutorial. So let's go and do that. Just write Visual Studio in Google 2017 and go to downloads. Make sure that the link is actually something that's legitimate. What you want to have here is the community version of it because it's free, and the professional and the enterprise ones, they actually provide you with the tools that are not really needed for you at all. Community ones perfectly fine for both CryEngine and Unreal Engine in the future. So you hit download. This kind of stuff actually downloads. You run it, go continue, blah blah blah. Once it finishes, you can close the browser. Well, let's go to the other screen maybe. Um, I'm just gonna close it because I already have it installed here. But there's a couple of packages that you need to install for it. I think for your needs at the moment is the only one that you need is this one here, programming classic applications in C++ language. But as you can see, I have some more stuff. You can install some tools that you need for games, for Linux, that sort of stuff. You can take a look at what I have here and actually take the same boxes. I'll go slowly. Right. And yeah. I'm pretty sure that 99% of the stuff is something you don't really need to program in C++. I think what you could do, you just could go with this one here and should go just fine. And then you press install and it will install and guide you through installation. I'm gonna show how to install stuff because obviously if you're going for programming, you most likely know what that is. Once you get your Visual Studio installed, you go to Visual Studio 2017. You actually create the project first. So you go to File, New, Project, and we'll ask you what language, what sort of stuff you want to use, and you can actually download also other stuff online like C# and that sort of things. But for this video, we're gonna be using C++ only, and for upcoming videos as well. So what you want to go for is Windows Console applications. This is probably most basic point where you can create the simplest possible applications. I already have my folder with projects here. I'm gonna just call you CPP Basics. Keep those both names the same. Press OK. Will take a couple of seconds and it loads up. Holding control and using your mouse scroll, you can actually zoom it in and out. I'm gonna remove this all green code here because this is just a comment. This is something that's not executed. And we're gonna quickly just go through the code over here, see what each line actually means for the very beginning. So let's start from the very beginning. I'm not gonna touch this one, but include. It is something we're gonna be talking specifically about much later when we go to object-oriented programming, which is gonna be a couple of episodes from now on. But all you need to know at the moment is just that this actually includes, it injects other C++ files created by other people or by you in order to access the code inside of them. So instead of writing your whole program in one file, you could actually split it to separate files to have it organized and that sort of stuff, so you can then just include it and it's all clean. IOStream is just a library file. You know, it's a standard library that is used for sending data from the computer and receiving data to the computer. It actually allows us to write stuff into the console. So second line here is a function. This main function is actually something that's necessary within the C++. Whenever you run your program, system will just grab this function and run it. And of course, we're gonna be talking about functions, what those are, later or in the next episode probably. But basically, all you need to know at the moment is that this is function called automatically. You cannot change its name because if you do, it will not compile. It has to be named like this. This is the start point for every single program in C++. This is called on the very beginning. What happens after? It's just your own imagination. I mean, invention. Those two brackets actually indicate where the function starts and when it ends. So, and our Visual Studio is pretty good at it because it's pretty good environment to do this stuff, because whenever you click on one bracket, it actually highlights both of them. So because if this function gets bigger, you see in the future, you can kind of get lost between these old brackets. So basically what happens here is this bracket opens the function, starts it, and this one closes, ends the function. Every single function in C++ will have the brackets, so you will get used to them. And the final line that actually executes some code is this. Cout stands for console output. What that is, it's some kind of instruction that accesses output stream of the data. So it allows you to actually write stuff on the screen. That's pretty much it. Those two arrows, these are called a stream operators. So they basically show you even the direction within which the stream actually goes. And this is a text in double quotes. Every single text in C++ ends up in double quotes. This part of this code is actually it says to the stream that after writing this to the screen, it should skip to the next line. The cursor within the console application should skip to the next line. STD is something we'll talk about later within the future videos. It's called namespace, but it's quite a handy thing, but at the moment, to get rid of this so we don't have to write this every time, I'm just gonna write some piece of code. And we can get rid of this. So at the moment, your code should look like this. There is also one more thing I wanted you to correct before we start working on this code. Remove those two things here. Go behind the quote, go again with the stream operator and write end line. Basically what this instruction does, it does the same thing as I said about this. This. It skips the console to the next line. If we now execute our program, it actually shows hello world on the screen, and then it goes to the next line, which is this instruction over here. As you can see, there's one empty line, which means the instruction actually works. Why is it hello world when you created the project? Is because this is some kind of programmer's tradition to run the first program in their environment as a hello world to see whether the environment actually works, compiles properly. So this is probably the simplest code in C++ you can write that does something actually visual. In this video, I'm not going to be going over variables, functions, and namespaces because this is reserved for the next video. But what we can do, we can experiment with this a little bit, so we can have something cool for the very beginning. My name is, you can go like this, name is Michael. And if I compile it, now it says my name is Michael over here, so that's cool. A couple of things I wanted to explain as well about the C++ syntax is that C++ ignores white spaces. So C++ ignores it. It doesn't matter whether it looks like this, like that. It ignores the white spaces. Right? It can be connected together, but at least one space is there. But it ignores white spaces. It ignores tabs. So if you click tab and goes like that, C++ will also ignore that, and also C++ will also ignore this. So the signature that goes to the next line. This semicolon in the end exists on almost every single in the end of every single line in C++. It actually finishes some kind of instruction and lets the compiler know that, hey, this is the point, I want to finish executing some sort of stuff, and then I can move on to the next one. it's good that we have the semicolons here. They allow you to actually have multiple spaces without any issues, because C++ will just ignore it, and it knows where to finish the operation anyway. Because you have these, you can actually because C++ actually ignores the white spaces, you can organize your code to be more readable. So for example, if I wanted to do something like this, to have it more readable, or no, I don't know if that actually looks that readable, probably not, but I just wanted to understand that concept of having semicolon in the end, right? Inside of the console, it will not change at all. It will just twice write my name is Michael to the console. But compiler, as you can see, my name is Michael, then it goes to end line, my name is Michael, end line, empty line, that's it. But still, you can have it organized like this, or whatever you want actually. So that's a good thing to know. There anything else I wanted to talk about? Yeah, basically what the input and output stream, how it actually works is the same as having your computer here. Let's say it's your computer here, yeah. Right, it's your PC, and input stream is actually data that goes into the computer. So for example, you can have your keyboard. Yeah, I just don't want to go too much into details about the keyboard here. Everyone knows it's keyboard. So any input you press on the keyboard, it goes into your computer using input stream. Same as having, for example, scanner. I don't even know how to write scanner, but if you have that machine where you can put the paper and it actually scans it and runs input stream into the computer, but you also have this output stream. And how it actually works, for example, devices like your monitor actually. Yeah, your monitor is actually an output stream device. So whatever you press on the keyboard, whatever happens on the screen, it goes in your computer, it goes to the screen. And for example, it could go here, or it could go to your printer. So if you have your printer connected to your computer, it could print out some papers as well. Whatever you scanned here, you used input stream, and then it outputs to the printer, for example. That's how the input and output stream actually works, and that's what we can access here in C++. We can write stuff from the keyboard. We can, as shown here, it's output stream. So you go, some kind of string, some kind of text is being output into the actual screen over here. So that's how input output stream works. At this point, I'm not going to be extending this video any longer. I just want you to try to understand the main concept of C++, experiment with this a little bit, change whatever you want to do. We can add another line like this here within the function. Remember, don't put it over here. Outside of function, it will not compile. But inside of the function is fine. You can see, you can just experiment a little bit with stuff like this. It's not really anything complicated, and indeed it's quite something boring, and I don't want this channel to become boring. That's why I'm gonna be trying to move on with all these things. So I'm gonna be explaining variables, functions, and namespaces in the next video. And yeah, one more thing I wanted to show you. If you remove the end line over here, you will see that actually what it does, it separates lines. So now you have my name is Michael, and then right away, hi Michael, and it doesn't really look good. So I'll leave it as is, and I hope you, if you have any questions, comment below and give me your subscription, and spread the word about the channel to your friends if they are interested in programming as well and making games, which is something that will come after these videos. So see you in the next video then.